Dungeon Doomhands, Let's Talk Lore, a podcast.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Lore. I'm Spencer, and this
I'm
is Chris. Tonight we're going to talk about Chris. What are we talking about? Combat.
Talking about combat
and how to make it more engaging. Well, just I guess like it more engaging, fun, active, user friendly.
Different thoughts to bring into combat as you DM.
Issues. I have issues.
And how to make it.
I have issues. Let me start. One of the first issues that I have with combat is that sometimes, in my mind, when I'm DMing, it sounds really cool and it's going to be awesome, and then 5 minutes later, it's really, really boring. And people don't. I guess there's a whole slew of topics for combat, but it's like, I know what I'm going to try to do, and then your character does something, and then it changes what I'm going to do. But the rolls take a while, if simple math games. So one thing that I like about being the DM is that sometimes you can fudge the numbers, make the combat a little bit quicker. I noticed that my bad guys, when we play, go really quickly sometimes, like really quickly. And then other times, you got players that like to think out loud and figure out what's going on, so it sort of dulls the combat and the fight stops.
Some of that, like the one topic that I wanted to talk about was the flow of combat, how you like to enhance or encourage the flow of combat to speed up or slow down, or find the moments that you want. I know the challenge with combats is it does feel like that slog. It's like you get into it and it's everything just slows way down.
Right.
And some of that is just familiarity with going through that stuff. Some of that is just through combats and going through that stuff. Some of that is just through combats RP a whole lot compared to fighting. So like Aranis' fight, he's learning a whole new character there, so it's going to slow things down a little bit. But one way I always love to try and keep everyone engaged during moments like that is throw RP elements, roleplay elements into it as much as I can. So I always, anytime I have an NPC, I always try and say something with them to set the mood, set the tone, to give the players a sense of there's something other than just things in front of them to go kill.
Right. And so let's talk about like things that you could use players and DMs to sort of make it a little quicker. Now, I'm so into the DM mind of things that I feel like some advice I can give with this, just based on our game that we play every other Monday, Agoth Doomhand, is that, and one mistake I make as a DM is that I try to have the battle finish with one side dead. Like not every time is, very rarely I would say, are you going to, let's scratch that. The bad guys don't need to always die. They will run away. It's like, and if you read in the Dungeon Master's book, it shows you sort of how to play, get in the mindset of the bad guy. Elder Brains, and this is the first time that I did that. When you guys were fighting the Elder Brain, and you guys were actually doing a pretty good job, I just had bad rolls. And the Elder Brain, which was a big crucial portion of the story at that part, I didn't want him to necessarily die, but it also said in the book, once he gets attacked and once he gets hurt to a certain extent, he's going to run away. Same thing with the Kraken. Like, you'd think that these things would be able to kill them, but based on their strength, and also like who they are, like a Kraken is sort of in in the way back of the way that I played the Kraken. He's the closest he is to God. He wants to strive to get to the God level, but he's also afraid that he's not. So if you get him past his middle area or a little bit lower, he's going to start to he's going to feel scared and want to run away. So you don't always have to, if the battle continues to go on, people can start running away.
Well,
opportunity attacks
look at the fight with Aranis. You have 6 deserters now, people running away, and that was just people fleeing to get away from the mayhem.
Oh yeah. But what else? What do you think about something the players can do to sort of advance or make it more engaging for everyone?
The one thing I always love to do when I'm playing is everyone during D&D 5e, you have your action, bonus action, your movement, and everyone says you have 6 words of combat for your turn. So I always try and say something while I'm taking my turn of trying to relay information, trying to pass on an idea, a strategy, a plan. Hey, come over here, I want to help you. Or I'm coming to you, stay put. Or engaging with people whose turn it's not, to try and keep them active in the scene, the moment that's happening.
So, like as a player?
As a player.
To the group, what would you say? Like, give me an example of that.
Say an example of when we were assaulting the Temple of Baal, or the zombie horde in front of the Temple of Baal. Or coming in as like, hey, Ignis, I'm gonna fly us closer. Be ready to fire. Be ready to take them out. Just like that interaction with someone else's turn. So when they come to their turn, it will be like, yes, we already planned this. It's already happening. Let's do that.
So maybe like allowing a little bit of metagaming. But the problem with metagaming is it's a two-way street, because I'm going to go do this, but you have 6. If it's your turn in fight, you're going to say, hey, if you and I, Chris, were fighting a dragon, right? Or let's just say a bear.
Right.
I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to run and yell at it, and I need you to figure, to take its leg out. And you say that stuff to each other. Now, whether or not and the DM can roll to see if the bad guys understand it or whatever, but I would probably, as a DM, just let it go, let it slide, let the players be creative. That's pretty,
Yeah, that's one other thing, is the players are creative. So one thing I love to do in a combat, to help it be more engaging, to let the players think outside the box, because it doesn't just have to be a one side against one side and they hit each other with swords until one side goes down. I love to try and bring the environment or stuff that's in the room into play. Like, you have some tables and chairs, you have a half wall, you have some windows, you have a plant over there. People are creative. Someone's going to turn into a potted plant and throw it at someone else. Or someone's going to disguise himself as a chair. Or someone's going to take a grandfather clock and start riding it.
Yeah, you did that. When we fought, when we were in the desert and there was that army of orcs and army of undead, you didn't really know who it was. I had this whole thing planned out where you guys were going to go in the temple and you guys were going to attack the Avatar of Shar, and the war outside was going to affect you guys inside, and things were going to fall, and the Avatar can't move out of the way, so that was going to help you. Right. But you guys decided to stay outside, and only one person went in. So I was like, oh my God. So Mike is going to get absolutely destroyed. How do you do this? So at that point, you sort of have to just let it go, figure it out. You guys decided to fight the army, and Mike eventually ran out. The Avatar's slow. Fight the army. And I had just posted something on Instagram where we are creating our campaign, and it just so happened that in this section, and it was a good topic tonight, we had fought zombies, like a zombie apocalypse in Artemisian Forest. And like, how do you? Previously, I don't think I did that exactly correct. But one of the DMs, Craig of Inspiration on Instagram, look him up. He's pretty good. He actually suggested to me that you lower the hit points of some of the bad guys, especially in large hordes, and it allows like the players to feel like they're really slashing through. So you have 100 zombies, you rolled a 20, maybe you describe your character slashing these things down,
describe how you wipe out 10 zombies in your attacks,
because you got to think about it. Like, I mean, maybe it's so cool, and as a DM, maybe it's so cool, and like, get in the mind of the players, like their adrenaline, like they're gonna maybe give them even an extra I don't know, maybe give them an extra action, or give them advantage on stuff. It doesn't always have to be, okay, now my turn. Okay, now my turn. And what do you think about initiative in these fights? Because sometimes there's so many sometimes there are 4 bad guys. And
for something that friends have used when you have a lot of minions is groups. So you don't just have every single character, every single item. It's like what you do with Aranis and the Horn of Valhalla with all of the berserkers. They all go once, or like what you did with with the old lady that Buderbot and Ignis killed, the assassins.
Yeah.
Like, you had groups of them. That's a nice, easy way to make larger enemy count encounters move a little bit smoother, a little bit quicker. But yeah, all 5 of these types of people are going to do pretty much the same thing. So It's quickly move them all around. They all make their one attack and just push them all through.
Yeah, average out attacks. Now, I wouldn't say that. I mean, you can also discuss it with your DM. Okay, maybe these 2 characters are going to sort of protect the group. Oh yeah, and so there's a mission. So maybe 2 characters are fighting, and the other, like, we're gonna, in the next section here, we're gonna do our examples on Tabletop Simulator using Hero Forge models. It's gonna be awesome. And maybe, like, maybe just remember, you don't have to kill everyone. There is an objective. Right. What is your goal? So, like, okay, in the zombie apocalypse in Artemisian Forest, you were trying to save Gabriella and get to her, and then ultimately convince her to kill herself, which was hilarious. But she didn't know that at the time, and so your goal was to get there. Do you just plow through? Are you guys looking for bounty? That the city is being attacked? Like, what is it that you do? And what's the goal? So you don't have to get bogged down again in the fighting. Focus on the goal. If you're having trouble sometimes trying to figure out what your character's doing, you can also pass. You don't have to affect the group by saying, I don't really know. Matt, when he plays his ranger, sometimes he says, you know what? I'm going to sit back and I'm going to move over here, and I'm going to very, very quietly do a dex stealth check, and I'm going to chill and ready my aim. So maybe the next time he fights, he's been and he passes his stealth and he quiets down, maybe he gets an advantage on that attack. So you can always, as a player, you can pass the buck too. And also as a DM, not everyone has to go. So
well, people can be shocked in the midst of battle, or like something you said, there can be another goal. Combat can pop up when something else is happening, and it's just like, we don't really care about these people. We just have to, like, defend ourselves a little and then get the hell out of here.
Yeah, I love the environment thing that you brought up. That's my, like, one of my all-time favorite is because the environment is so engaging. It affects everyone on the board. How they, the wind starts to blow heavily, or you have the Wand of Wonder, and all of a sudden 1,000 an infinite number of butterflies shoots out.
Yeah.
And now everyone has, just deal with that.
It changes it from just like a blank page with some tokens on it to a living, breathing thing that
Right.
you can affect and move and destroy and hide behind.
Right. Yeah, and it's like in again, to go back to that zombie apocalypse, and we're going to do a little bit of that after this. The city was burning. I should have, as a DM, looking back on this, and maybe after watching this, if I had seen it before, I could have said, you know what, the smoke from the burning is gonna start to get into everyone's eyes and cloud everyone's vision, including the zombies. They're gonna start eating themselves. Opening up an area for you to escape, or there are more and more, and they keep coming, and they're immune to the smoke. What do you do? All that type of stuff is interesting, neat, and it keeps the players engaged. So don't get bogged down in combat. If it's slow because you're learning the game, that's one thing. But if it's slow because you don't know your character, or there's a lot going on, that's okay. But also know that other players are getting sort of bogged down when you're keep the momentum. It's like another a hot potato. Pass it.
Another trick that I've heard and other DMs have used while I've played is if you have a lot of random NPCs or other characters, give some of those responsibilities of that character in combat to another player. So say you say we're fighting with some guards. All right, Spencer, when the guards come up, you're going to roll for the guards and tell me what they're doing. It's like what we do with people who aren't there, with our PCs who aren't there. Like, we take over the role and their play, but DMs can also pass off some of those tasks,
right?
Of the NPCs to the players as well.
Right. So maybe your character, for his short moment, is giving a speech to the NPCs, and now he has control over their actions. Let them do what they will, body shields, and all that.
You never know.
Yeah. I mean, it's an ongoing topic. We just offer solutions here that hopefully will increase engagement and gameplay. I think we should move on and do an example. Yeah. What do you think?
Roll high. I'm excited for it.
Roll high and subscribe. And then if you're on our Instagram, follow. Roll high and follow. Doesn't have the same bell, but
Dungeon Doom Hands. Let's talk lore. A podcast.